Mic check. Sound, it's good. Camera's good. Man, there's an update and I look kind of funny. Maybe I've always looked a little funny. It's hard to tell. It could be that I've always looked funny. Alright, we can talk about the list first, and then we'll play. Averna was something that one of my channel members wanted me to play. If you don't know what they do, whenever you cascade, you put a land from among the cards you reveal into play tapped, and you get to play the spell that you reveal for free. So it's pretty sick. You don't get to play all of them. So like, say we cascade into a spell that's playable, the next card, then obviously we miss out on lands. If there's a gap between the next free spell and there's a land in that gap, we get to play that land. Let's see. Thus, we're a bit of a cascade deck, and we're just a value-based lands matter kind of a list. Whenever land enters, they come in tapped, unless we have stuff like Amulet of Vigor and Tiller Engine and Spelunking makes the stuff come in untapped. And then we could use the mana we have access to the same turn, and we might be able to string multiple cascade spells into a single turn. This is also a self-bounce list. There wasn't like a option for tagging the list that way, but the goal is to bounce our cascading spells so we can cast them again and get new cascade triggers. We have Prissy Bill for a land fall trigger that's relevant. The mana sink's also nice because we'll be a big mana deck in the mid to late game. It'll be nice to have something to dump our mana into. Cunning Evasion, though. This is one of our bounce spells. Whenever some of ours gets blocked, we can return it. It's an option back to our hand. Super sick. The idea is put our opponents in a box where if they block, we return a creature back to our hand. We get a new cascade trigger down the line. Or our opponents take a bunch of damage. One of the two. Oh, this is not supposed to be Destiny Spinner. It's supposed to be the spider. Huh. Life Spinner? Is that what it is? No. Yeah, it's supposed to be the evolutionary effect, and I don't remember. Spinner of Souls? Yeah, Spinner of Souls. We're going to fix that. Hey, what's up? If anybody wants, there's a good amount of time between now and the next set, and I'm letting people make recommendations. You go to, what the hell is it called? My channel, and the post is kind of buried at this point. Letting people make recommendations of what they want to see built and played. Averna was one of them, and then I was going to build Pridewind next. The Pridewind won't be patched into Moto until the next set, so I might just do a deck tech and then play it later. That means I got plenty of room to do other things if people want me to do that. Don't let me forget. I kind of want to fix that before we continue. I have a feeling that if I finish up the tech. I'll forget to swap out Destiny Spinner for Spinner of Souls. Gotta do it now. I call it I like to eat it as a reference to the cake phrase. I guess you could say. I like to have my cake and eat it too. It's kind of the same. Uh, not only do we get a free spell, but we get land. So it seems like a sweet title for the deck. Destiny Spinner out. Spider. Okay. Back to the tech. Sorry about that. I just didn't want to forget. Evolutionary Leap. It does the same thing as a spider, but it's the OG. We sack something that's about to die, and we replace the card with a new creature. Fauna Shaman. One of our 3 tutor effects. Actually, we have a lot more tutor effects, but one of our many tutor effects. The best thing we can tutor is something that bounces our creatures. So, Temur Sabertooth is a prime target. We could add in, I don't know, a Drake so we get infinite mana, but I didn't want to really do that. Yeah, you could do it. You could easily add in an infinite mana, like the Drake that untaps your lands. In this generates infinite mana. If you make your opponent sit around, it's like I said, an easy shoehorn if you wanted to do that. Cure's Follower, I like this guy because not only does it act as ramp, but it acts as a synergy piece, the self-balancing in particular. So we have a couple of permanents that tap themselves to return something back to our hand. Things like Crystal Shard. We target our own thing for 1 blue. Gets returned to our hand. Same with Portal Sanctuary. Those are just good targets for our Kuyora's Follower. Lotus Cobra, it's one way to generate a bunch of mana so we can string multiple cascade spells into each other or into themselves. Ideally, if we can't find multiple cascade stuff, we just bounce the same cascading target or trigger to our hand multiple times. Suplex, it's a new removal spell. The reason why I like it is it can get rid of the One Ring. The One Ring is incredibly popular. You'll see it in almost every game, it feels like. Especially when I play online and showcase the deck on here for all of you to watch. It's just a must-have permanent removal. I do like Deglamour, and I forget the other one that shuffles artifacts or enchantments. I'm not running those. I found that it gets harder and harder to include specifically just naturalized effects, but if you want, those are good options for dealing with the indestructible permanents that are really annoying. So if you have a meta where you have people playing gods, that's what I'd start playing, stuff like Deglamour and stuff like that. Survival Fittest, a very expensive Fauna Shaman. Get her Sabertooth. Animar. Our cascading spells are incredibly expensive, so there's a cost reduction package in this list too. Animar is one of the best. I haven't played him since, Commander was first introduced as like sealed product. I played Animar, my friend played uh, Kalidas, and we had some epic fights. I had a bit of a leg up because he was protected from two of his three colors, so very many wins. But I've also lost plenty of times to angels, demons, and dragons too. The nice part about him is he scales up when you cast a creature, and then creatures cost one less for every counter that's on them. Our Druid's Charm can hit our One Ring effects, can be removal for creatures, and Gillis Tutor our Sabretooth. It's a bit of a linchpin in our list. It's either that or Ethereum Horn Sorcerer is good because it can bounce itself. Equilibrium, where you cast a creature spell, you pay one, return target creature to its owner's hand. It's flexible. If you don't have a cascade thing worth bouncing, you could bounce your opponent's stuff to their hands instead too. And like I said, you will have so much mana at your disposal. You'll probably get a lot of flexible use out of this thing. Faldorn and Loss of the Damned are nice. Whenever you cast or play a land from exile, you get a body. Pretty sweet token generation. I'm not the biggest fan of it because we have 13 to 14 cascade effects. So we won't be generating too much value out of these. If you could think of better things to replace these with, I probably would. I just think you don't get as many triggers as you would like. Maybe not worth the card slots, but it's in here to try. Titus Provisioner is just a Lotus Cobra, but for treasures. Shardless Agent, it's a cheap Cascade body. Probably the cheapest one we got. Shadow Orb. This is kind of fun. The first spell, creature-wise, that we cast costs 2 less. And then whenever a opponent casts their first spell, take 2 damage. It's expensive. It's $16. But it's $16 for a reason. Mossborn Hydra. Super strong. I've been killed by these things a lot lately. And they're in like the 1400 power kind of range. Kreslax. It's another one of the blue enchantments, Cutting Evasion, but it's on a body. Whenever a creature becomes blocked, we can return it, and we get to redo our cascade triggers. And then the other drawback is if it doesn't block and it hits, then we draw a card. So damned if they do, damned if they don't. Cascade trigger, just good removal piece. There's a chaos. Another cascade, only you can cast it from your hand by discarding a land. Bloodbraid Challenger has cascade, and it's nice because it has recursion from our own graveyard. Pretty nice. Juggalo Racetrack, it just fits perfectly in this list. It's a lands matter deck, so not only do we make a bird, but the tokens get bigger. They turn into threats. Green Sleeves is a nice landfall trigger. The body, I prefer bodies that are bigger than 2/2s. They just are more impactful. I don't typically run anything else that generates a body that's for cheap. Like you could run Scootswarm just for the sheer volume that makes. I don't play it online though because it breaks the game in terms of like it crashes and we have to start all over. So I purposely don't play Scootswarm for that reason. But in paper, it's a viable and very consistent win condition. 2 Cascade triggers. The Marine does damage to something equal to the number of spells you cast that turn, and Reclamation destroys an artifact or enchantment. Aurora Phoenix, recursive body, brings itself back whenever we cascade. And the nice part also is that it returns to our hand. Oh, I took Scootswarm out. You could put anything in here. I never had it in here to begin with. If you want to take something out for Scootswarm, either Gut Faldorn or the Lost and the Damned, if you're going to play in paper. I just feel like these probably don't generate enough value to warrant their slots, really. But I wanted to try them out just because. Dragonback Assault creates a 4/4 dragon on land, and it's also a mini board wipe. Planar Gate makes creatures cost 2 less to cast, helps us with our very expensive cascade triggers. Sextimish Project comes in as a copy of something you cast this turn. What's kind of cool about these effects is um, the thing you cascade into comes into play first, and then the Project comes in after. So you can make a copy of whatever random thing you rip out of your library. Suicune Recluse, more impactful than I think 31 Cents gives us credit for. I've seen a lot of big bodies get dumped into play because of the bottom paragraph of this thing. For everything that comes into play that turn, gets up 3+1/+1 counters thrown on it. It also has Flash, so you could sneak in some cool combat tricks. Omnath and Avenger, classic landfall trigger when conditions. Call Forth the Tempest has Cascade twice, and then it deals damage to each creature and opponents you control, equaling the total mana of spells you cast this turn. So it'll count the 2 spells you cast before with the Cascade trigger on top of this. It's a one-sided board wipe that does a shit ton of damage. Underpriced for $7, in my opinion. Maelstrom Wanderer, Cascade twice, creatures under control have haste. The haste portion, I think, is a little relevant that people forget. Pretty brutal. Tideswept Tyrant, this is going to be used to mostly bounce our own stuff, but if we could string enough spells, we could start bouncing our opponent's stuff. You could target lands with this, so it is a win condition. Apex Devastator cascades 4 times, and Omniscience circumvents the cost of a lot of our stuff. So we generate a lot of mana. Getting a lot of mana is easy. I'd play it. Brings us to the end of the budgetless version. Let's talk about the budget. I'm only going to talk about the stuff that's slightly different and unique. Dourport Mage draws us a card whenever something gets bounced to our hand. That's our whole goal of our list. Bouncing stuff back to our hand. Rydia. I just like it for the card advantage piece. You see a ton of cards with this landfall trigger, and for 2 mana, it's crazily costed for what it does. Granted, you give up a card, but it's really worth it. You just ditch the thing that's worthless in your hand and then replace it with something potentially better. I didn't talk about Cloudstone, but it's in the other list. Whenever a non-artifact permanent enters the battlefield, you get to return another permanent of the same type. So ideally, we play a creature, bounce one of our cascade triggers back to our hand, replay it, and then we just keep going back and forth like that. I think it's good. I think it's worth the cost of. I think he's 8 mana, cascading twice, and then the haste. I think is surprisingly backbreaking. It makes people sweat because like everyone knows that you're playing a lot of big mana spells, and then just like the potential of coming out of nowhere and killing people is pretty darn good. Mhm. I'm running more generic, crappy cascade creatures like Boarding Party, Volcanic Torrent. It's a one-sided board wipe. That's actually kind of nice. Does damage based on the number of spells he casts that turn. So save it for last. Hopefully you could sweep up a lot of good stuff. Heralds of Zench, whatever. Another generic cascade thing. Oh, Omnath Royal draws us a card whenever we play a land. Once we have 7 lands in play. Same with AC, does the same kind of effect. Only draws this card, and we get to play additional lands. I'm also running Tatyova in the 5-drop slot. There we go. I think those are the biggest differences. Just more card engine pieces that combo with lands. You know what? I actually kind of like the Tatyova AC over the stuff we talked about earlier, where I couldn't really think of something to replace. Let's just do that now. I think those are just significantly better. I guess if you're short 2 slots and you're not sure what to include, you could include those other things, but I still think it's not consistent enough to warrant it. I love them in loot, but probably not here. Just one too many cards in this budgetless version. Let's see if I can find something that's a little overrated. I mean, I could give up AC and just keep my curve nice and low. Yeah, let's just keep the curve nice and low. There we go. Keep it simple. Let's play the game. Cut decimate. Yeah, that's pretty fair too. It can be inconsistent. There we go. What sucks about it is you need all 4 permanents in play for you to blow all the stuff. Let's play the games. Get 3. Okay. Doing this one right here. Yeah. Here we go. Hmm. Well, double green, got one of the best creatures, but we can't play anything, so we're just gonna get rid of that. So playing it. Pretty a long ways away from the Phoenix, so we'll just have to give that up. Girl, this is a landfall deck that turns lands into flying birds. It's pretty annoying. The power and toughness is equal to cards at hand, which it's going to be a lot. They typically have a full grip of cards at any given time. I'm going to use my Worldly Tutor to get like a Bird's Paradise or Delighted Halfling. I kind of want the Bird's Paradise because I have a lot of like, I don't know, spells with pips in them, and I don't like the colored mana only can be used for legendary spells, so I kind of don't want to mess with that. She has a control list where they play free spells that are very expensive to cast. She's probably the best from Final Fantasy in my book. Like, from my play experience, I played a lot of Final Fantasy commanders, and she just is so consistent. She's one of those commanders where like people also just blatantly ignore for some dumb reason. I don't know why. They're just okay with people drawing a ton of cards, I guess. The trigger is not that hard to do if you build it right as well. Like if you do free spells and slug, the trigger happens all the time, almost every end step, and it's hard to beat seeing 4 cards of Revolution on the table just for doing almost nothing. And at the same time, like all your spells interact with the table, so like it's a hardcore control list. It's pretty obnoxious. Hopefully, when we cascade with Shardless Agent, we find a land with Averna. And I like this art of Averna. It's pretty sick. Little comic booky kind of style. What's wild about it is the spell doesn't have to resolve either. It's a cast trigger. So with my counter magic, the thing that is pursuing, he'll probably get it no matter what. He'd care less if they interact with this spell. Actually missed out on playing this. I played Glarb and I was like, that's the only 4 CMC. Like, I just felt like Glarb just barely etched out like a reason to play over her, and I didn't want to play 2 archetypes, 2 decks of the same archetype, pretty much. Glarb was strictly better because we got all the greens. Let's get a island. What I was saying is Glarb is slightly better because he cares about just the CMC. Helga cares about CMC and um, that it's a creature. So just the card pool and card selection for synergies are just strictly better. It's bigger. I like Jetwinder too. I don't get a lot of decks to play it in, but when you do have the right deck to play it in, it's pretty darn good. Leveler. I'm pretty sure that this is a CDH type of commander. Like it's like a, not S tier, but 1.5 in terms of like the power scaling and what she brings to the table. The aggro is just really desirable. Ain't hard to break. The last time I played against one of these, though, I played a. I think he had like 4 or 5 lands, and he had 30 cards in hand, and I managed to make him discard all of them with a Mind Slicer, and I killed all 4 of his land creatures, and he was officially out of the game. I don't think that's going to happen this time around unless Ishitola does that kind of effect, but probably be a lot harder this time around than the last time I played against it. Playing the sorcery part in this, yeah, let's counter that. Deny him the value because if he got this off, then he could just play a ridiculous creature afterwards. It's a little bit too much. That we deny him 2 pieces in 1 card. Great Elves. Nice. Doesn't really matter what we play. I guess I like the hasty creature more, and then I don't have to sit here with my thumb up my butt. Get the forest and Bristly Bill. I did that in such a bad order. I should have, unless the land comes in first, then it's probably unavoidable then. Anga first. I already kind of did a dick move over there, so I'll get the guy that's trying to draw a bunch of cards. Oh wait, does this have first strike? It does. Never mind. Yeah, we will just let the guy in the middle. I feel bad. Plus, this guy gets to do cool stuff later. It's not like he really cares. No, it's great, man. The synergy is we're a big mana deck too, so doubling the counters, like we have a sink for all of our mana once we get to the mid and late game. It might just be one, but like the doubling effect is pretty significant. Like if we can't bounce a cascade creature back to our hands and replay it, then at least we have this to sink our mana into and start killing people with. Well, see, like this is what they do. They free spells. And a lot of the spells that they play that are free either draw some cards or interacts with the board. I wish I could have shown you how powerful he is, even without the counter doubling effects. Um, he literally didn't make it a full turn or a full turn cycle without being killed. That's how like powerful he is in like big mana lists. Or do you play one already? Just played one already. Yeah, I don't know if like I feel like this was definitely a better target at the moment. It seems pretty sick. Final showdown. All right, there goes that fun. We didn't lose too much. Our commander was like the most valuable thing. And I don't mind. Chitola is off the table. Taxing whatever it is that they're trying to get online is worth it. We need some mana. So I think we play the agent. We don't get the value, but I think we need to find a dork or a soul ring. Cool. And our mana drain. So no. Next two cards are lands. Crap. I think next turn, if we draw land, I'd rather play green sleeves over our commander. I think this is a good example of why counter magic and cascade lists aren't necessarily the best because they do nothing unless you want to counter your own stuff. Wow. Goodbye. Can't handle the board wipe. I don't know why he gave up. He had plenty of mana, and no one has a card engine in play yet. That's pretty scary. We're all kind of in this weird, I don't know, doldrums. I'm pretty far behind, though. These two have so much more mana than me. They have access to bigger spells. For now. Genesis Hydra. That's pretty fun. That's the only thing he hit? That can't be right. Wow. That's pretty sad. Oh, it's just a single card. So he chose that. It was the best permanent for sure. Man, I thought this was better. I thought you get to play everything, but it's just a single card. Those are good choices. Yeah, I'm just gonna attack the guy on the left here with all the man in the world there. You'd turn this into something, Hydra. Or it feels like it. Yeah, Mystic Confluence and Cryptic Command, I just don't like them for how not so mana efficient they are. I already got a lot of 5 drops and 4 drops. I don't need more of them. Maybe I should not. I almost put yield everything, but I don't care about spelunking. Not yet, anyways. Right now, I'm probably the most concerned about this player. He's got multiple card advantage engines with Garuk and Helga in play now. Every time he plays anything of 4 power, he gets to see at least 2 cards. If there's just one, then he just draws one. We gotta leave up negate for some kind of big haymaker, I'm sure. That's pretty scary. Wonder if he's got a negate in his hand. Didn't counter it because it's a creature. Bees, the wheeze. We are drawing it up pretty badly. We are just a passenger this game. Our curve isn't even that bad. 2.39. We just keep drawing the most expensive stuff in our deck. Apparently, um, if you could consistently play it from your graveyard, I think it's great. I guess it doesn't have to be played from your graveyard, but you know what I mean. Most the decks that like it are like casts because they just play everything from their graveyard. or like things that give spells in your graveyard flashback. Could be a good fit in this because, well, we could cascade into it and see 3 cards from it. Not a bad choice. Oh, that's the one that gets the land. I was thinking of the blue card. Yeah, not bad. I don't know how many suspend cards. I feel like there's more broken things you could do with that. Oh my god. Yeah, there is a +1/+1 counter theme in this, for sure. Yikes. Still has 6, 7, 8 mana at disposal. 6 cards to play. Hey, I'll take that. Evacuation, baby. Wow! He surrendered to that? He had his beat. Like, who really cares? He had a full grip of cards. He had all the mana in the world. He would have just replayed his stuff and beat it. Like, and then the guy on the left surrendered. Huh. Well, that felt like a hollow victory. I feel like we did not deserve that. The guy on the right probably had his beat. Um, he would have just replayed all of his stuff again and won the game. No harm, no foul. And the guy on the left didn't have any cards. He wasn't seeing any. So, like, he was outpacing everybody. And then I guess the guy on the left because uh, he was just annoyed, I guess, to be fair. Bizarre game. Yeah, if I was that Helga player, I would not have quit. No way. I would have like evacuate, whoop de doo. I have a full grip of cards and all the mana in the world to play with. The moment that guy threw a rent. What's also weird is the Helga player played the first board wipe and caused the guy on the left to surrender. The moment he got interacted with, it's just a little scummy, a little lame. The smallest of setbacks is enough for people to be pissed. While we wait, I can work on the Pride win list. I haven't thought of what to call it yet. Um, the boat for now. It plays very similarly to Oketra, the zombie maker, because well, the tokens are equal in stat size almost. Like you make 2/2s, but they become 4/4s. Oketra makes 4/4 zombies with vigilance, so Oketra has you beat in that department. But um, the qualities of the flagship that are slightly better is it's a vehicle on other people's turns, so it doesn't get swept up in board wipes. Um, it's another like Oketra's token generator. It's a cast trigger versus Pridewind is an ETB trigger, so you could abuse it much more easily. The downside of that trigger is it has to be a non-token artifact. Not uh, not easy to do either. In terms of stuff to play that's legendary in a vehicle, there wasn't much that really interested me currently. They mostly did for the next set that's coming out. And of the 21 that you could currently play, there's 2 that let you play stuff off the top of your library, and then there's Pridewind. Everything else is just like, I think, dog shit. Like you could play, I think a close 4th or 3rd is the Regalia, the one that is basically a Sword of the Animus, but then you're stuck playing colorless. And we all know what colorless decks do. They just play big, dumb, colorless spells. It's not exactly unique or cool. And it's a combat, or it's an attack trigger. Just feels kind of lame. Nothing I really like of them. They're not very impressive, except for the Pride win, which I thought was somewhat cool and unique. And I haven't played Mono White in years. I think that's what got me the most interested. If I wanted to just crush people, I'd play one of the 2 vehicles that let you play stuff off the top of your library. It's not bad. I don't have a rock, but I have interaction. I got all my colors in a budget version of the list. I came very under budget with this list. I was at $89. Hmm. Huh. Never played against that. Um, shit. We get a free mulligan. It's decent, but I think we can do better. We can afford to be a little greedy. Okay. At least we have cascade triggers. Unlike my previous hand, it did not. For those of you watching, who else thinks that the price setting for this deck is a little ridiculous? I went to my store and I asked, what the price of things are, and this was the most expensive deck in the store. Um, no, I don't play additional lands per turn. Um, not pursuing that at all. But anyways, most expensive card or commander deck of the 4, and I think it's the worst one. And the only reason I can think of is it's the face of probably the most popular protagonist from the series, and from what my playgroup tells me, a lot of content creators think this is the best. I couldn't disagree more. I think it's one of the worst. Among them, Yushtola was the cheapest, which surprised me. Dead Ringers. Let me look at it. Don't know it off the top of my head. It's pretty slow. I think I could wait a little bit to throw out my hull breach. I think I'd rather just Terramorphic and call it good. We need double red sources. I'll just tap this to not be soaking up people's time. Let's go back to looking at this. Still not loaded yet, huh? My bit rate's pretty good. The game's running smoothly. Maybe Card Kingdom's struggling. Yeah, it's just Card Kingdom that sucks. Destroy 2 target non-black creatures unless either one is a color the other isn't. So the wording on it is a little strange, but so like if both creatures share the color black, you can't destroy them. They have to be 2 completely different colors. I feel like that's a much easier sentence than what this says. But that's what it means. We are going to pitch a land if it's on top. Let's go into the bottom. We got plenty of lands in hand. It's an old card. I never played it before. Didn't know it existed. I think there are a lot better removal spells that hit 2 things for around the same cost or is cheaper. Like Ashes to Ashes is better. Curtain's Call is better. There's another card that destroys 2 things and costs you 5 life. I don't remember what it's called. Yeah. Can you read my magic card? Because I can't. I'm not surprised Blake's the one that's playing it, or like playing the can you read this card game with people at the store. Man, I wish I had you earlier. Would have been nice. I get equilibrium down. Doesn't sound bad. Satyr Fauna Shaman. Mana wise better. And I could start bouncing the Voltron shit back to his hand and making him pay his shit over again. Be painting a target on my back, but he was gonna come at me anyways. And I'm not blocking with this. Ner hit me and I hit you back. This could be kind of annoying. You'd blink off my commander with that. I don't know if he would, but he could. Damn, this thing has 3 toughness? What the hell? Okay. A little frustrating. It's my equilibrium and my land. With a decimate, hits 2 of this guy's creature. Well, hits his commander and the talisman of creativity. Okay, that guy's done. Uh, I have a volcanic torrent that can't kill anything on the board yet. I think I'll pitch my Phoenix to the Shaman since I could get it back to get a cheap cascading body. Fortunately, I have 1 green source, and this ties up my green mana. Hopefully, we draw a green source off the top that's untapped because I run a lot of tap lands in our budget version. Cool. Expensive to equip. Holy hell. Jeez. Close to 7 power. Oh, it is 7 power. That's pretty scary. Start losing life every time. Oh, we got a green source. Thank you. We are so far behind that guy. I guess we get Blood Braid. We need the mana. Phoenix right back. And then we have more fodder for the Fauna Shaman. Damn it. We didn't get a land. We hit a Lotus Cobra immediately. That's okay. Next turn I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can cast a Cascade creature for 6 that I tutor out. I'll probably get Ethereum, and I can bounce that over and over again. Sage. Does he hit the... He hitting... What? Okay. He's shrinking the stat over here. Buying us some time, I guess. I do feel like he could just have another equipment in his hand, and we're right back to where we left off. I feel like that's what's going to happen here. Man, this thing draws on upkeep too. This thing just does a little bit of everything. Pretty obnoxious. I was pretty amazed that it had reach, was a 1/3, and added mana, but you had the upkeep draw trigger. It's insane. Um, yes, it does the same thing like Survival of the Fittest. Survival of the Fittest is better because you do that as much as you have green mana. Oh, Jesus. Just becomes a 7/5 automatically. Hmm. Suicune Recluse ain't bad either. Um, we could kind of stuff out a lot of his aggro. And we could just keep getting stuff back too. Wait. Oh, I can't play it though. I don't have double green. That's why I wanted the Ethereum. Shit. Guess we're playing Protege instead. It's a legendary creature. Of course. And we didn't hit a land either. We will copy nothing. We could make it into a land, I guess. That seems like a bad thing to do. Well, I guess now I can bounce my Cascade thing back. We're doing the thing. It's just not as good as what's going on over there. Sweet Gum Recluse play was so stupid of me. We weren't too terribly punished though. Like we had something to follow up anyways. Yeah, it's not. That's just the price of playing Moto online. We we are playing with $90 in paper. That equates to how much is it worth in Moto? Let me look. It is 17 ticks, so it's $17 to play online. I didn't have to spend that much to play these though. I spent $5 to build both of these decks. That's because I play with a lot of, or had already owned a lot of these cards from all the decks I've built historically. Just reusing them. Alright, so Zephyroth is on. He can modify something, become a 7/5. This thing has trample. Perfect. And he's turning this into 7/5, so he makes 2 treasures. I'm willing to trade for this. My Cobra and Sakashima are worth it. Right? Oh, it's huge. Shit. Yeah. I think we're just buying some time here. I don't want to die to this down the road. Is this a combat trick? Yeah, fuck. Uh, top card was what? Omniscience? Did I not get to cast it? Wait. Okay. He chaos warped my thing, so like, why don't I get to play my? Oh, it's in play. Sweet. Well, we're gonna have some fun next turn. Yeah, there is a big power difference. Um, I get to play like with um, really expensive game changers, but in terms of like the feel and how the deck plays, there's not much difference. Um, it's like a 15 card difference between the two lists. The lands get more expensive. I am so excited for this. I could probably wipe his board with this. I'm gonna take away the plate so all of his shit dies. Man, talk about your all-time backfires when you chaos warp into my permanent so you could do a little stupid combat trick. And it turns into that. That is pretty brutal. We are definitely gonna get our big boy, our Apex Devastator for sure. Or I could do Teamer Sabretooth and just do it over and over again as much as I have mana. I think the Sabretooth's better value for now. Next turn I could get um, the Apex Devastator and really mess this board up. Yeah, let's do the smart play. We want to make green sources. Get the Primal Vigor too. Take care of those. We might be able to get most of our library out of our deck. Man, we didn't hit. We have missed a lot of lands. We have two elementals. Wait, why didn't this? Oh, the Dark Steel Plate's indestructible too. Shit, that was dumb of me. Hmm, whatever. We're gonna probably be bouncing the Recluse eventually, but whatever. I guess we bounce the Phoenix too. We aren't seeing lands. for just hitting the first spell. It's okay. It's gonna happen, folks. Eventually. Maybe I'll start bouncing things. I think the spider's better. Make our board really big. I hope we find a land because I want to start floating green so we can keep doing this. Yeah, it is kind of weird that we did it 4 times in a row now, but the possibility is real, so I guess I'll just expect to honor it. Cloudstone Curio is good. Now we could do this infinitely without having to sink mana. This is game, actually. We just get every land out of our library and make it an infinitely sized board. Eventually we'll find Maelstrom Wanderer, give our board haste, and just alpha strike these guys to death. So there's an infinite combo in here, unintentionally. There we go. We got our lands. We've hit critical mass here. Choose an elemental. Oh, okay. We'll throw it on our commander since, yeah, there's so many triggers. Yes. Give me the Recluse back. Classic B2 turn. The Cloud player's bitching and moaning right now. No, we don't need to use the Curio yet. Yeah, the Chaos Warp is what led to this happening. He's asking if this is infinite, and I'm telling him what's going to happen. Eventually, I find Maelstrom Wanderer and I kill them. Bitchin' and moaning. It's my favorite. Oh, they can bitch and moan. I don't really care. Don't really want this. We could bounce this. I accidentally hit yes to the Cloudstone. No, gotta wait for these to hit the table. Yeah, it is doing the thing, and I'm doing it with the budget less efficient way. uh, do I have anything? I do have something to bounce. I'll bounce the Bloodbraid. It just circumvents a lot of the cost of things. It's too good to ignore for the fact that I get to cast stuff for free from my library. Now I have Apex Devastator, so I can do this much faster. Your type out Spout Tyrant. Too busy whipping your ass to read your comments. Whatever you. Cast the spell with Cascade. What's the spell? Can't even see you. No. It's the negate, I think. Let's see if I can do this before I time out. What part of omniscience made you skeptical? That was too expensive to play, mana wise, or monetarily. It's only $4. It's really affordable. Okay, that's also true. They're gonna make me play it out. They think I'll time out, but um, it has taken me 7 minutes to go through half my library. So, based on the law of statistics, I will still have 9 minutes on the clock before I alpha strike these people to death. Game's starting to struggle. Poor unfortunate souls. That was the Apex Devastator trigger. Yeah, we don't need to do that. Take too long. Now, can I find Apex Devastator? I can. It's hard to see under my massive board. Yeah. Now I can just tutor my guy out. And I can put this to bed. They could have surrendered at any point. They wanted to play it out and see me do it, even though I told them exactly what was going to happen. Make that make sense. It's only fair. I made it sit here for a long time. We'll have the top row hit the player on the right, and we'll have the bottom row hit the player on the left. We got to keep it consistent. We're forming ranks here. Oh, yes. And just be safe. I made the lobby. They're talking about it. Should have ejected me. Damn, it's a lot of damage. 152 plus the 29 and 37. It's a little over 200 damage. Game, set, and match. Well, I hope you guys like that. First game that we played with the budget list, I feel like uh, we didn't really deserve that win, but we got it anyways. The second game, however, we deserve that win and get to see exactly how the deck functions. We bounce our Cascade trigger creature back to our hand, we get a new Cascade trigger, and we let the fun commence. So, hope you all enjoyed. We'll play the Pride Win. Uh, Pride Win, but let's see. I can do a tech for Pride Win, but I can't feature it on the channel for a while. That won't go live until the patch for the next set comes out. So if people have other recommendations, other commanders they want me to play, just say so. And let me know in the comments below, and I'll play it. So take care now.